The first thing I want to point out is something that no one's talking about. And the fact is that the entity that's making this application under our municipal code isn't authorized to do that. They are not eligible. By proceeding with this application, you're basically saying that any person in San Ramon can come in and ask for a general plan amendment on property they don't own, because the applicant here does not own any property in DMU North. Now, maybe I'm a little more sensitive to this than most people because I'm a lawyer, and I feel that the law ought to be followed unless there's a real good reason why. Were it followed through along the lines that Sunset has suggested and has said they're going to pursue, it will be to the detriment of what we have in San Ramon tried to do for the past 30 years. So I cannot support this, even leaving aside the fact that the applicant has no legal right to pursue this. Now, I'm
being there and buying the home. The ownership itself brings security to the community. So in this whole process, if we move all this 100 plus homes from this BR11, BR7, city village probably, if we consider this 3 as well as 6, 8 and 12, we are counting around 200 plus homes. And once you move from regular sales to an affordable sales, the price difference itself is $1 million plus. So we are, in short, we are giving a developer around $200 million of gift. So I think since the developer has signed by Sunset Development, they should at least list the name of the real owners who are going to benefit out of it. And this is a right of our citizens to know who are benefiting. Around 5 years to build this general plan. If we throw away the general plan for one developer, we shouldn't be doing that. And that's why I think a city should decline this, or at least find out who are the real owners and get all of their names, so there is no conflict of interest in any decision making, because it's a significantly high money. And all
please look into the the remarks made regarding beneficiaries, who's the real owners of these properties, and the amount stated that would be a, how shall I say, a profit, I should say, the stated profit. Can you give us some clarification on those remarks?
If he's talking about the owners of the non-Sunset parcels, I think we've settled that Sunset owns the Sunset parcels. So the only ones that I think are at issue here are the ones that are non-Sunset parcels. This is a privacy issue. They did not come to the city for this application. They're
questioning the applications for these particular developments that are being proposed. It's all Sunset. We've answered that question. We answered it, thoroughly at the Planning Commission. We stated tonight it's Sunset controlling all the parcels, either through an LLC or directly.
They clarify whether the stated profits that stand to be made by this are factually accurate?
I know there is a lot of misinformation and disinformation is being shared across the community. Knowingly, unknowingly, I don't know. But just as Mayor Armstrong already clarified,
Favor for somebody, but we're not.
Everyone, and I want to first talk about Verose, Councilmember Verose. You were talking about the misinformation which being spreading and all those. I want KB Homes is one of the owner of the BR7. Why are they not listed on those application? KB Homes, Toyota and others. They should be at least aware of this change of the DMU. That's what my thought is. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I didn't know this. I don't know how I missed it. I didn't know this was going to be on the agenda, so my thoughts are not very well organized, but I'm going to put it on as it is.
Everyone. So I want to quickly go over the key points that I think. Last public hearing, the entire topic was misleading. There was no mention of general plan or DMU North or FAR ratio in that topic. You have to go to page 190 to see whether it was the same thing. So I think it's misleading. So last public hearing shouldn't be considered as a public hearing. And typically in every other city, whenever you have a public hearing, you get 1 minute to rebuttal. Why do we not get a rebuttal option in San Ramon? The other thing that I want to talk about, the rental versus ownership. I already spoke about it previously. The rental are not even the rental housing are same price as regular rental homes, the affordable rental, probably 200-300 less. So this is not really building anything for the community. And our vision in general plan, the FAR ratio 1.25 at the core of the city was with the purpose of having starter homes. And if we are going to throw that away, we are also giving a bonus to the developer. One other point that last I wanted to speak is the ownership issue. In the application itself, the land is, some part of the land is owned by KB Homes, Truemark, Kaiser, Toyota Corporation, and multiple companies under the umbrella of Sunset. So we should at least list all the companies that basically to make sure the application is complete. And Sunset only owns less than 50%. We cannot consider it as a valid application. Speaking about the Belmont Village where we are comparing the FAR ratio, there the typical house apartment size is between 600 to 700 square feet, which is typically for a starter homes. We should be building more starter homes and keep the vision. We currently have a declining population in San Ramon. For last 4 years, our population is going down. Our school enrollments are low. So if we
public and careful analysis, rigorous public input and careful analysis. It is one of our anchors of our city planning integrity in downtown. Reducing that standard potentially to 0.5 is not only a unilateral sunset-driven change, it creates a dangerous precedent, undermines community standards, and jeopardizes future housing capacity. Let me explain the statutory concerns here. Now, we've heard that we don't have a FAR, or we didn't before, but never has an analysis or a description in any of the planning reports or the staff reports at any of the meetings discussed Senate Bill 330, the Housing Crisis Act of 2019. Local jurisdictions are prohibited from reducing residential development capacity below the level set on January 1st, 2018, unless there are proper compensatory measures such as upzoning elsewhere. Well, the December 2023 zoning update increased the maximum FAR from 0.7 to 2.7, establishing a broader range for development. This measure also set a floor at 1.25. Even if the maximum remains high, lowering the minimum effectively reduces our housing baseline, not to mention the intensity of development that supports transit-oriented development or the vision approved for the remainder of downtown under the City Walk Master Plan. Furthermore, this zone will include many developments that make up the city's housing element inventory. If you approve this reduction, and it actually results, because that's what we're talking about, zoning, not development. There's nothing in front of us regarding anything tangible. All this talk about affordability is not right. Not right. We're talking about the underlying zoning. Any commitments, services, that's all just garbage talk, gobbledygook, false commitments. We're not talking about that.
Okay. Ron,
Furthermore,
you need to wrap it up, please.
Furthermore, this zone will include many, I must also address significant procedural and transparency failures. I was not provided with a 72-hour notice for the first city council hearing on this issue on April 8th. And despite my inquiries, and emailed assurances from Councilmember Rubio that the city manager would address my concerns, he has yet to follow through. He has never contacted me regarding this issue. But even more concerning, the hearing on this item the night proceeded as if nothing was wrong, that everything was procedurally sound.
Brian, I need you to wrap it up, please.
The city has thumbed its nose at government section code. That night, previously, and continues to do so at breakneck frequency. More to the point, during this past November's election, the city used city resources, funds, and staff time to develop, print, and distribute pro-voter propaganda on Measure N through its city report newsletter.
All right.
Similarly,
thank you, Brian. Appreciate
Similarly,
it.
Vice Mayor Verose blatantly used the city seal in his title
All right, Brian,
of
I'm going to have to cut
councilmember
you off there.
in his voter propaganda, implying that he was endorsed by
Madam
the
Clerk,
city.
do we have another speaker?
And then
last
he
speaker
distributed his
Okay, can I
propaganda
get
to
a
Santa Ramon
motion
voters
to close the public
that
comment?
do not reside in his district
Okay, Brian.
and so cannot vote for him.
Brian,
and
I've
was
got to ask
uncontested.
you to stop, please.
There is nothing.
Thank you.
Don't let the perversion continue.
Okay.
Thrani.
Okay. Sure.
Hello, Council. I am here to talk about the public hearing. Typically, as previously you didn't respond to the public hearing giving a rebuttal option. So is this public hearing also the same way? Few red flags I see in the hiring issues is like when we have 3% of turnover ratio, it's actually very odd for a company. I do staffing, that's the kind of business I do, so I interact with typically in good companies 10% of rotation that happens. So that was one of the part. But in the previous, I would like to rebuttal on a lot of the options. So how is my option? Because you already passed the DMU North thing.
Yeah, this is where we're just accepting your public input.
Okay, just to be on the records that I would put it that we were not given an option to rebuttal. Thank you.
Okay. Next speaker, please.
Mayor Armstrong for standing for an hour with us after the meeting. That was a very great gesture. I appreciate that. And we had a long conversation, a two-way conversation. So apart from that, I have filed a referendum as an intent to basically put on the ballot the general plan update which got passed. And in the Art and Wind Festival, we had a great experience meeting a lot of community members, and almost 90% of them basically said, okay, we'll sign it, because they would like to put it on the ballot, because there are a lot of discrepancies, as well as appealing over here is like almost 4,500, and that was something red flag. A lot of residents thought was a wrong thing to happen in San Ramon. And hopefully, if anybody would like to sign the appeal for the referendum, you can have my number. It's 925-435-7161.